Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight sounds like a you problem. Kigali says that a refund is not on the table now that the UK has ditched plans to ship over migrants. It says that hundreds of millions of pounds have already been spent building homes as was planned. Also, some of the pressures off West African merchants hit hard by the ongoing border shutdown between Niger and Benin. A deal that brings Nigeria into the mix opens up a new trade corridor. And despite only becoming a nation in 2011, South Sudan's already turned out an impressive array of athletes taking the international basketball scene by storm. But first, we aren't obligated to give the UK any money back, says Rwanda. £240 million was sent to Kigali as part of a controversial deal for it to take in migrants that the UK's former Conservative government wanted to ship over. Well, the Tories were voted out last week, and the new Labour Prime Minister has scrapped the plan. Clément Di Roma has more.
Since the first migrant deal was signed in April 2022, the UK has sent £240 million to the Rwandan government. The agreement planned to send thousands of asylum seekers to Kigali, but legal challenges in London and Europe blocked it. 2 years later, this cornerstone of Conservative policy was cancelled by Labour's Keir Starmer the day after his election. No migrants ever arrived in the land of a thousand hills, and UK media now question if part of the £240 million will be returned. The Rwandan government, however, clarifies that the treaty signed by both countries does not include a provision for refunds. According to a spokesperson, the funds have been used for constructing migrant housing in the capital and mobilizing an entire hotel for over a year.
This was not a loan given to Rwanda. This was money sent to Rwanda to carry out specific actions. These actions have been carried out. There's no reason why these funds should be returned. As for the permanent buildings, it was stipulated that Rwandans shared them with the migrants. Today, the migrants are not coming anymore, so Rwandans will live in those buildings.
The Rwandan government's idea was to be ready at any moment in case migrants were sent promptly. Local authorities, however, say they remained open to discussions with London to check if there is any unused budget that should be returned.
Well, 12 children and their driver have been killed in a minibus crash in South Africa's Gauteng province. Wednesday's accident happened in the Kokozi-Wedela area in Merafong. Now, witnesses say that the victim's vehicle overturned and caught on fire after a small truck slammed into it. Several other children were hurt. Most of the fatalities were from pupils from Rocklands Primary School. Aid workers, including the Red Cross, have warned that help cannot get through to many areas of war-torn Sudan. Fighting between the army and the RSF paramilitaries raged since last April, and civilians are paying the highest price. Tens of thousands killed, more than 10 million displaced. On Wednesday, a summit organised by the African Union in Addis Ababa in another bid to encourage a political solution to Sudan's conflict kicked off. With some notable absences, though. Clotilde Azar tells us more.
The African Union is set on what it's calling an all-inclusive political dialogue aimed at finding a negotiated solution to Sudan's conflict. So, as one is various political parties, key voices from civil society have also been invited. But some are not ready to engage with just anybody yet. A big absentee on Wednesday was Takadum, the broadest Sudanese civilian coalition led by former Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok, who also did not turn up. The snub didn't go unnoticed.
We are disappointed that Takadum, which is a significant grouping of Sudanese civilian political actors, are not here. But the good thing about it also is that we have maintained channels of communication. And we have assured that we'll proceed with this first meeting. I said before, it's a preparatory meeting. We'll follow it up with more meetings with Takadum and any other group that we find may not be here.
Earlier this week, Takadoum slammed the meeting for a lack of prior consultation and transparency, and for including figures close to the former regime of Omar el-Bashir. Takadoum characterized them as the forces of war. The coalition believes their inclusion will legitimize the conflict rather than encourage peace. Other important Sudanese political and civilian coalitions did turn up, though, including resistance committees, delegations from the Forces for Freedom and Change, and from Sudan People's Liberation Movement North.
That breakdown there from our Clotilde Azar in Addis Ababa. Now, tit-for-tat border shutdowns between Benin and Niger have snarled up the movement of goods as tensions escalate. So, a deal signed between Cotonou and Nigeria in May, allowing goods from the port of Cotonou to be transported to Niger through northern Nigeria, has come as a lifesaver to those who rely on the free flow of trade between the countries. Our team sent us this report.
For the last month, the corridor of Cotonou-Kandi-Sekbana has served as an alternative trade route to the one disrupted by an ongoing diplomatic dispute between Niger and Benin.
Since the border with Niger is closed, it's good that this one is open. We're happy.
Some trucks had been stuck in Malanville at the Benin-Niger border for months before this new route was introduced.
We spent 3 months in Malanville before coming to this destination.
Beninese truck drivers get around the restrictions by handing the goods over to Nigerian trucks.
If you have a Beninese license plate, you can't load onions from Niger for Benin because they refuse to load Beninese plates.
Since last year's coup in Niamey, transporting cargo from Benin's capital to Niger's has become far more complicated. Some drivers have even gone as far as detouring through northern Togo and Burkina Faso. This more direct option is a welcome one.
It's a real hassle. Togo, Burkina Faso, all the way to Niger. It's not easy at all. Kaya, Dori, there's no peace. They're killing people. I can't even talk about it.
Truck drivers and port operators still face some hurdles. The new crossing point is not yet set up for long-term parking, and transporters can still run into problems with Nigerian customs.
We left Kandi to wait for the passengers. We can't go to Nigeria. It's too difficult.
The diplomatic rift between Cotonou and Niamey has caused an estimated 20% drop in port activity since last August. Benin is hoping boosting trade with Nigeria can make up for the shortfall.
Well, Sierra Leone's taken a big step in improving the rights of girls with a new law that criminalises child marriage. Conviction for marrying under 18s now carries a minimum 15-year sentence, and even guests of such ceremonies now face penalties. The country has one of the highest rates of underage weddings in Africa, and the First Lady's Hands Off Our Girls campaign has actually gone a long way in ushering in this change. Our team tells us more.
In Sierra Leone, new legislation has been introduced to crack down on child marriage. It is now illegal to celebrate, attend, or even conspire in order to set up one. This is a major breakthrough in a country where the rates of child marriage, teenage pregnancy, and maternal mortality are among the highest in the world. According to UNICEF, between 2015 and 2021, 3 out of 10 girls were married before the age of 18 in the country. Human rights organizations in Sierra Leone welcomed the passing of the law as an historic decision.
They don't have the ideas about getting married at that early age. They go through so many problems, molestation in the house of men at that age. But now that we have a bill that girls should not get married at that age, it is good for them. It is good for us also as parents, because most time we look at the background we are coming from, just because we want our girls to get married, because of society or because of money.
In Africa, according to UNICEF, about 130 million women were married before the age of 18.
Now, Kinshasa's residents are growing increasingly frustrated with authorities' lack of action when it comes to improving the Congolese capital's roads. The city's congestion is notorious, and the government's long indicated that plans are in the pipeline, but Congolese people just want to see the rubber hit the road. Take a look.
As the population and the city of Kinshasa continue to grow and expand, the need for reliable public transport and roads in good condition becomes ever more pressing. Cable cars, urban railways, and bypasses are all being planned to relieve congestion in the Congolese capital. In the meantime, the traffic jams are making life difficult for the 17 million people who live in the city.
You have to be here well before 5 a.m. to get the transport, and when you get to the Sycamore stop, there's a big traffic jam. We're all stuck. Motorbike taxis, pedestrians, not to mention the suffocating heat inside the bus.
Another issue contributing to the city's traffic nightmare are unregulated prices. Kinshasa has no real public transport service. Almost 90% of passenger vehicles are privately owned. Depending on the flow of traffic, fares can range from 4,000 to 8,000 Congolese francs, which is around $1.50 to $3.
Transport fares are not fixed. Everyone sets their own price. If there are a lot of people, the driver raises the price.
To help reduce the amount of traffic in the Congolese capital, the government launched several projects that have not gone beyond the discussion stages. For example, a cable car was in the works to link together several dense neighborhoods in the south of Kinshasa. But it's been years, and there have been no developments.
It's already been a while, 2 or 3 years, since we talked about this project. We haven't seen anything. Nothing has been done. We're observing. We don't know if the project is real.
In late June, President Felix Tshisekedi launched the construction of the Kinshasa bypass in the Mitendi district of Mount Ngafula. Construction is estimated to take 3 years at a cost of $300 million.
Now, the national team of the world's youngest country, South Sudan, has already made history by qualifying for their first Olympics, following an impressive campaign at the International Basketball Federation World Cup last year. The Bright Stars will be playing on the 28th of July here in Paris at the Olympics, and their performance is no fluke. Olivia Bizot tells us more.
These junior NBA League players meet here every week. They're hoping to follow in the footsteps of their national team, who didn't exist a decade ago and who've now become kings of the hoops.
10 years back, the things are impossible because of the war, but right now, gladly our country is in peace and it's very good, so we're playing well. Someone who's playing in the NBA, you get a lot of stuff. They give you good payments. You're able to change your community, your family members, and how they live. That gives us hope. That gives us the drive.
In order to improve their skills, many South Sudanese learn from the best on TV. When the national team plays, people gather at bars like this, which creates a sense of national pride.
Basketball brings everyone together. Like, no one wants war or anything. Everyone is happy together. Like, there's nothing like enemies or what. All people are together as one.
We'll bring people like from different parts of the country and connect them like in one place, and there they'll get to unite.
Because of its power to unite the country, investment in basketball has soared in recent years. The National Basketball Federation regularly organizes these training sessions for young referees.
For it to grow also in other states, not just in Central Equatoria here, but also countrywide, I believe we need to invest both in facilities, in referees, in coaches and all that. So that we can have the chance, as we're going for the Olympics, like right now the country is up there, we're on the map internationally.
Whatever the result at the Paris Games, South Sudan is confident this will be the first stride of many. The Bright Stars will be playing their first game on the 28th of July.
Well, that's it for Eye on Africa for now. Thanks for joining us, though. Do so again. Take care.